Okay, Whoathon, episode 10, The Rescue. Not to be confused, let's not worry about that. So, thankfully, we've got our mojo back, and thankfully, it's the last episode of The Daleks. Let's quickly do the episode. First of all, Krapthal dies in a noble self-sacrifice at 5:30 on a Saturday night by cutting his own rope. And then, thankfully, Ian and Barbara et al. Get into the Dalek base. That's great. Then the first thing they do is run to Thal. So the whole expedition that was so desperately dull was also desperately pointless. As if we couldn't see that coming. The Daleks get their mojo back. Why do the Daleks get the mojo back? Because they've got something to play off. The Doctor's there. So it's quite clear that, predictably, nobody's got a clue about how to do Daleks when they haven't got anybody to persecute, which was to be expected, wasn't it, at this stage of the programme. We get a nice denouement where everything seems to be nicely wrapped up, and the Doctor gets a bit of doctorness. We get an interesting thing. The Doctor, whether it's self-serving or genuinely to stop the whole of Skaro being irradiated and therefore killing all the Thals, offers the TARDIS up. Now, later on in Doctor Who, any threat to the TARDIS is a real threat indeed. But of course, at this point, it's still the ship. So no matter how important, at the moment, the TARDIS is a means of travel. Maybe this will change in the next 2 episodes. We shall soon find out. The Doctor wraps things up quite nicely at the end with a bit of nonsense and chat, and we say goodbye to the Thals. We shall miss them deeply. Comedy moment from this episode is when the Thal leader, who's called Ayala, as you can see, I'm still remembering those names, has the bold and inspiring line, Churchillian almost, we may be farmers, but have we forgotten how to fight? To which both me and my wife, who's up there, said, yes, you have. You're pretty crap, quite honestly. You're farmers now. You can probably plough the Daleks into submission, if indeed you had any agricultural equipment to hand, which it didn't appear that you did have, so quite how you expected to survive without the help of the Doctor and Ian and Barbara is completely unknown. Another interesting thing is that the final fight sequence, to call it a fight sequence is perhaps overblowing it, it just felt so rushed. The countdown to the venting seemed to stop out of nowhere. The one of the Thals decides he's Spider-Man and descend from the ceiling with absolutely no explanation how he got there. I mean, I can go with this sort of thing. It's a fight sequence. You need a bit of excitement, you need a bit of action. But considering that we've had 2-ish episodes of bugger all, to have rushed that last bit, all that sort of climactic bit, just felt a bit nonsensical, really. Susan has 2 funny moments. At one point, she is freed from the wall in which she's attached to, and does a wobbly head run. She is an unearthly child, let's never forget. And also then she falls over at the end for no particular reason. Was it a fluff? Was it scripted? Who knows? I could go and find out since I have the scripts upstairs. Will I? No, I won't. I don't really care. I'm glad it's over. And why am I glad it's over? Because, quite honestly, Terry Nation is a writer. Terry Nation is to writing what sledgehammers are to sculpture. His use of all the usual techniques of writing is so heavy-handed that ultimately you are blown. Any sense of association, any sense of humanity or thalanity in his stories is just gone. Everything's so black and white and so just heavy, just so heavy, and everything feels so weighty. So we've had 7 episodes of this. This is the first Dalek story. I again reiterate, I just don't really get from this story apart from a handful of moments, quite why the Daleks became this massive thing. Quite why they were the first recurring thing in Doctor Who, apart from the core essentials. It just, it can only come down to Raymond Cusick. That sounds wrong now I've said it. But the designer, who legendarily got like 50p in a packet of Smarties from Terra Nation eventually, it can only come down to that because they look so good, and they're filmed pretty well. In fact, the only piece of Dalek choreography which doesn't work is when the final Dalek's eye stalk, I can't really replicate this, just goes, when he dies, just goes, dead Dalek. Honestly, look like a dead fish. Daleks end up thrown all over the place, but they look great. And it's never knock how good a Dalek looks, and you know, I would. You would, wouldn't you? The Daleks. So ultimately, the Daleks to me felt like way too long, not enough going on. Certainly no characters I particularly cared about apart from the key four, and just some bizarre plotting. Now, watching Doctor Who episodically, especially over 7 episodes, and you know, 7 episodes is long for a Doctor Who story, but we have 8 episodes coming up. We've got one of 12 episodes. War Games is 10, and Trial of a Time Lord, depending on how you look at it, is 14 episodes. Doctor Who can get away with a certain amount of peculiar plot holes because you forget, and that's fine. That's the nature of the beast. But they were that transparent and clear in this. I mean, the moment when Ian runs into the Thal leader, you just, oh, for God's sake, this whole plan was for you to attack there, you to attack there. All that just gets lost completely. And so ultimately, we could have wrapped this up in 5 episodes, let's say. 5 episodes and we could have got this done. And we wouldn't have missed out on very much at all. There we go. So, Ian gets to be your action man. That's great. I like Ian. I know that, excuse me, Guy, just because you've been in one of these things doesn't mean you can hog the limelight. I think some people have got a problem with Ian, but I've got no beef with Ian. The structure of the show I found peculiar, which gives him such a weight that is now unusual in Doctor Who. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I like Ian as a character. Barbara's great, although this little romance, she ends up kissing the Thal. I mean, geez, you wouldn't kiss a Thal, do you? It's like kissing beige, like kissing a beige tray in a library. But you know, Barbara's great. She doesn't get to do much in this. Let's be perfectly honest, it's not the sort of episodes where she should have much to do. She throws a rock at a Dalek. That was quite nice, throw the rock at a Dalek. Susan's useless. Susan is useless. Now, obviously, I know, and anybody who's watching this might know, that the next 2 episodes she has a bit more to do, and we'll see a bit more of her. Hartnell's great. We get a bit more of the grandfatherliness of which he gets remembered now. We get a bit more of the grit as well that in other instances is missing, and he wraps it up quite nicely at the end. He interrupts the other actor. The other actor just lets him get on with it. That's fine. It's his show. So what are we on? Episode 10? No, was that episode 11? Oh, God knows. All I do know is that that I still feel, obviously I'm looking at it from a very different perspective from somebody in 1964, but I still feel the show is finding its feet. Having a seven episode story as your second story, without the benefit of knowing that the Daleks were going to be so massive, was stupid, really. I mean, they should be really thankful. We should be really thankful that the Daleks were so massive, because if they weren't, would have been nowhere. It's only the Daleks that made Doctor Who last this long. Well, this is the concept, obviously, but if it wasn't for the Daleks at this stage in Doctor Who, it wouldn't have lasted. And that's not to do with the story. That is to do with the Daleks as a concept. And really, that's to do with the design of the Daleks. I'm putting it down to that. Thals, schmals, get lost. I can't be doing with you anymore. And yeah, I think both me and the good lady Dr. Wife Collins are immensely pleased that we've got something else to look forward to next time, whenever that may be. So yeah, okay, The Rescue. Not as good as the true story we call The Rescue, which comes later on, which has a multitude of benefits over this one. It's a damn sight shorter, for one thing. And yeah, rock on, Tommy, etc. Okay, looking forward to The Edge of Destruction next. Bye.